I'm Jeff Philbin, here to help you decide what to have for dinner. Today, breaking out of the breakfast menu, shrimp and grits with a Tazo ham gravy and Gouda and the grits. Joining me in the kitchen for this southern staple is Chef DeeAs. He's the executive chef at the Dan restaurant inside Tampa's historic Hotel Flora, formerly the Floridan Palace Hotel, the one with the big sign you see up on I-275, which, fun-filled fact, up until 1966, it was the tallest building in the state. The Dan opened in May of 2023 with the hotel itself reopening in November after a $30 million renovation?
Yes, sir. Beautiful $30 million renovation, the entire building.
Worth every cent.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Even though your day job is cooking up dishes in that elevated space, what we're making today could be made by anybody at home, right?
100%, and it's actually a dish that's one of those beautiful comfort dishes that was made at home by everybody, and as a chef, we've put our touches on it and we've elevated it and given it our special touch to the same way that you can do that at home. One of our tricks that we do, our little secrets, is that we pre-soak them with a little bit of water. You can do it from a minimum of 4 hours up to 24 hours ahead of time.
And what does the pre-soaking do for the grits?
So it really helps blossom them, right?
Okay.
And it also helps separate that sediment. So if you actually want to add a little bit of that, all that water that's right there, so then it separates. The beautiful part of the grits that we want to keep in that corn is going to stay underneath, and then those pieces that aren't as creamy, aren't as wonderful, part of the husk, right, that is on the corn, that's going to come to the top, and we're just going to skim those right off of the top. So when you look at that, you can see it softly start to separate right in there, right?
You can totally see that part, absolutely.
And then when we soak them, it also cuts our cooking time in half, right? So I know that everybody doesn't have 4 hours to sit over the stovetop and cook the grits, right? So this is something that you can do the day before, that you should do the day before. Put them in water, put them in the fridge, go to bed, let them go to bed.
And let them go to bed. Okay, so it looks like you've already done this. So you already woke up from bed and already had these ready to go over
We
here.
did, 100%,
Okay.
right? So we're gonna take these over, set them on our stovetop on a medium heat.
So you're gonna hydrate them back up again as
We're
well.
gonna hydrate that back up, and then we're gonna stir that in there, right? And the process with grits is it's one of those things that even though when we soak them, it speeds up the process, cooking them is still a slow process, right? It's one of those things that slow and low and made with love, right? So stir that in, make sure that it gets in between all of our grits right there. And then we have it on medium heat, and we're gonna wanna bring that to a nice simmer. It's one of those things, it's like risotto, right? Risotto's a 28-minute cooking process of constant stirring, right?
Yeah, you're
Grits,
always in it.
Grits, you're always in them as well, man.
You're always in it. My friends, you're going to be wanting to get all in this, because to get Chef DeeAs' recipe for his shrimp and Gouda grits with that Tazo ham gravy, head to dinnerdeas.com right now. Take your phone out, use that QR code at the corner of your screen. Look at that, okay.
And you see how it's starting to thicken it up? You see how it's starting, the water looks like it's getting, it's actually soaking into the grits themselves, right? So that'll let us know exactly where we're at with them, right? As the water continues to heat up and the grits start to take in that water and they start to come right back to life how they originally were.
Very interesting.
So as we have that in there right now, if you want to pass me the bay leaves,
sure.
As this is going, as it heats up, we can throw 2 bay leaves in there if we want.
Okay.
We add the bay leaves in there because the bay leaves have such beautiful aromatics, right? Mm-hmm. It's that beautiful floral essence that's given to the grits that gives them a different life. You want to do me a favor? Let's add a little pinch of salt to that as I stir this in. Go ahead. There you go. And then we have a little bit of garlic powder that I like to add that in there, so it helps give it a little bit of that extra bump to it as well, right? You want to give that a swirl yourself so you can see the consistency, see where it's at.
I think we're gonna let these grits keep going here. I'm gonna just keep spinning and just kind of going around the flow on this one here, because this is just really, really nice. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, Chef DeeAs gets going on his Tazo ham gravy, which I will try to resist drinking with a straw. No promises though, my friend, no promises.
I don't blame you, boss.
Coming up ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs, the show with delicious ideas for dinner for you. Today, we're taking shrimp and grits beyond breakfast thanks to Chef DeeAs. Before the break, we start on our grits, which were soaked, then boil with bay leaves, garlic powder, and salt, and now sit aside for a nice little 15 minutes So what do we do next?
So right here, we got a really hot saute pan about on medium heat, right?
Okay.
Anytime we saute, you want to make sure that your pan's nice and hot, right? Because otherwise, you're just going to sweat your ingredients, and you don't want to sweat the ingredients. You want that beautiful caramelization, and when we caramelize things, that's when the natural sugars come out of what we're cooking, and that's where the flavor really comes in, and that's where it becomes a whole nother level. So as that's nice and melted, and we're ready to go, we're going to add a little bit of our garlic right in there.
Okay.
Perfect. We'll add our shallots as well. You can add half of that into here. There you go. And then we're going to add half of those herbs that are right in there. So right there we have a little bit of thyme, we have a little bit of oregano, we have a little bit of dill. We're just about ready to start adding our tasso ham that we have right in there. When you make grits at home, you can use whatever kind of ham you want. I love to use a tasso ham because I love the Cajun. I love the spiciness that comes behind it. You can go to Walmart, your Publix, and if you can't find it in there, the beauty of the internet is you can go on Amazon, and what can't you find on Amazon, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just thinking one right here.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
We'll sprinkle in a little bit of this flour that you got right over there by you. Just a little bit. There you go.
Good?
Let's see. Yep.
Folks, to get this gravy, Chef Boulahay's recipe is on our website, dinnerdeas.com. Just get your phone, open up the camera, point at that QR code.
So we're adding in our stock right here, and you see how I'm doing it in layers? I'm doing it in layers because the flour is blossoming in here, and that's what's causing it to thicken up, right? So continue to add it in slowly and allow it to do that process. If you dump it all in there, you go back to that possibility of getting different clumps in there, and you don't want any of that, right? And if you were able to notice, I took this to where the flour and the butter and everything started to brown, right? And the more it browns in traditional Louisiana cooking, the nuttier it gets. And that's what you're looking for in a dish like this, right? You can see how that's thickened up, and it continues to thicken up as we add our chicken stock to it. And then once we get to about this point right here, we'll switch over and we'll start to add a little bit of our cream to this as well.
You got it. We'll slowly start going.
Yep. And this and the beauty about this entire dish, that's good, boss. And we'll give it a quick little stir. The beauty about this entire dish is it doesn't have to be made day of. You can make the gravy the day ahead. We're soaking our grits the day ahead. You want to make your grits the day ahead, you can feel free to make the grits the day ahead and just finish them off the following day as well, right? We'll add a little bit more of that cream as that's nice and thick right there.
Okay.
That's good right there.
Look at that come together.
Look at that
so
come
nicely.
together, right? So it's thickened up. We're getting to a great consistency right where we're at right there.
These smells are absolutely fantastic, but I've got to go in for a small little taste
no,
of this
100%,
one because like
please.
this is just an absolute joy to see this all come together. I'm going right there. Gonna get that nice little bit of the tasso ham right there too. Bring it all together. Let that cool.
And then we're gonna just pull this right off the heat, pull it to the side when we get that consistency that we're looking for right there.
That's special.
You think? Awesome.
That's special.
Thank you.
Wow.
So we've pulled it off the heat. We have it right on the side. Right as it comes off the heat, we're gonna crack some fresh cracked black pepper right into it. I don't add cracked black pepper into the dish prior to it cooking. Cracked black pepper is one of those beautiful things that's also a finisher, right? So you don't lose the natural flavor that comes on it, right? Always nice to have just a little fresh pepper mill right there. Give it a little shake, give that a little stir. And we got that beautiful consistency that we're looking for. It's one of those things that you could almost just eat by itself.
I honestly, I almost think just that and like a big loaf of bread right now, and I could just like be skimming it and just licking the entire thing here. I mean, it's actually beautiful. But
So
we got to finish these grits though too.
we do. So now that we've let our grits rest while we were cooking our gravy, and that's the beauty about it, right? You can rest it. The recipe says 15 minutes, but if you go a little longer, nothing bad's gonna happen to them. If we're gonna take the top off of our grits right over here, bring it right over the top again, put it right on the heat, and you can see that right there. We're gonna bring them right onto the heat, give them a little stir. You see how it's still got that nice soft consistency to it? And we're actually gonna bring the heat back down because we don't want this to get too high on us. We don't want the heat to get too high on us because then this is going to start to pop as it starts to simmer, right? Grits are one of those funny things, right? And that's where they get a little intimidating. It's like popcorn, right? Corn gets you anyway. It doesn't matter.
It just gets, yeah, exactly.
You give it too much heat, it's going to let you know, slow down a little bit, right? So as that's nice and stirred up, to reconstitute our grits and bring them back to life as well and give them a little more flavor and give them that velvety finish, we're going to add a little bit of whole butter.
Okay.
So And in French cooking, there's no such thing as too much butter.
There is not. There is not. Now, salted, unsalted butter?
Unsalted butter, yes.
Okay.
And we're gonna slowly stir that into there. Allow that to melt prior to putting in our cream, right? Because it's all about the layers, right? It's all about bringing it together. We could, if you put it all in there together, it'll work, but you're gonna have to work twice as hard
Sure.
as at marrying them to one another. So you can see the butter's melting in there softly. It's starting to become part of the grits, right? Versus coating the grits, because you don't want it to coat the grits. You want it to become one, right?
Yeah.
You want it to blossom into one another.
Very nice.
So we give that a little stir. Our butter's just about melted right in there. We're gonna add our cream. And like I said, recipes are guidelines. They don't have to be exactly what the recipe says. If you don't like cream in your grits and you want to make them with coconut milk, almond milk, feel free to. You don't want to add butter to them, you don't have to add butter to them, right? It's whatever flavors you like. You want to use a different cheese other than the smoked Gouda cheese that we're about to use today, you can use whatever cheese you want, right? You want to use a Parmesan, a Pecorino, you want to use a Manchego, whatever it is that you want, right? So we're bringing these right to life. You see how the beautiful color of it changes?
Oh, yeah.
The yellow, you know, it's funny, right? As we add the cream and the butter, the yellow becomes rich. It becomes alive, right? So as beautiful as they were prior to it, when you look at it now, it's starting to get deep, right? It's almost starting to get a little bit more of that gold color into it, right? So we're gonna bring this up to a soft simmer. Once this comes to a simmer, that's when we're gonna add our cheese and stir our cheese right into there. And then we'll be ready to go on to the next part. So this is nice and warm. It's all gotten together right there. And as you stir it, you can feel it starting to cook underneath here. So go ahead, give that a stir. And you feel how it's starting to coat the bottom of the pan, right?
Without a doubt.
And this is why it's one of those important parts where we're at right now, that you want to keep on stirring it. You want to stay with it, right? And this is one of those things that's to cooking, why you got to be in tune with what you're doing and feel it, right? The grits are telling you right now, hey brother, I'm ready to be finished.
I'm ready for it.
Whatever you want to finish me with right now.
This is that
We're
time.
gonna finish them with this beautiful smoked Gouda cheese that we have right over here. I'm gonna slowly add it into here for you. And look, I lived in Wisconsin. I grew up in Chicago. You can't add enough cheese to anything, right? So
butter and cheese, can't go wrong.
keep on stirring that in there right there and allow that to melt into it. And once that's melted, you'll be able to see it, you'll be able to feel it. We turn it off and we're ready to move on.
Love it. And you can really start smelling that Gouda really coming to alive here.
That Gouda with that bay leaf, right?
So
it's
nice.
amazing
It's
how that works with
absolutely
one
so
another.
nice. I love it. I could do this for hours. I could absolutely do this for hours. These grits, they taste pretty Gouda. But so will our shrimps, which will be showing you the best way to cook when we come back after the break ahead on Dinner DeeAs.
You smell that now?
Oh yeah. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs, Ideas for Dinner. Though today's idea might seem like an idea for breakfast. Chef DeeAs is with us from Tampa restaurant The Dan. He's been making shrimp and grits, but with some delicious differences. We made the grits with grated Gouda cheese, and before the break, we also made a tasso ham gravy. And even though what we have there is plenty enough, there's still another way that we can make this even more delicious, because we're gonna add shrimp to this?
Yes, sir, we're gonna add shrimp to it. So right now in our hot pan, as you can see, we've added our oil, our garlic, a little bit of the butter. We're adding our shallots to it right now before we add our shrimp.
Okay.
We're gonna give that a little saute. This is part of the portion in the cooking where you can't be afraid of the heat, right? You're gonna need the nice high heat so then we can give our shrimp that beautiful sear that they need, and so then they don't steam up and they're still nice and crunchy on the inside and beautiful.
Now, if you didn't have shallots at the house, could you sub it in some onions for it instead?
Oh yeah, definitely. You could sub in some red onions with it, a little bit of Spanish onion, whatever your preference is. I personally love to cook with red onions constantly at home.
Yep. Very
So
nice.
we've added our shrimp right in there.
Oh, look at how, this is so beautiful. What's the cut size on these?
So So these are 1620s.
1620s.
Yep.
Okay.
That tells us that there's anywhere from 16 to 20 to a pound in them, right? Clean, deveined. I like to take off the tails on them. I know they look pretty when you go to a restaurant. Sometimes you see them on there, but nobody wants to eat the tail.
And it's like I always understand, like never understand why people do it. I mean, yeah, it's the presentation, but it's like if you're at home, it just takes an extra second. Come on, like just
Take it off. Make it simple, right? Here we have a little bit of our seasoning that we're going to add to them as well, right as they're cooking.
Now, what do you have inside your seasoning rub here?
So inside our seasoning, this is what we use at the restaurant. We have a little bit. I'm going to give you some of the ingredients. I can't give them all to you.
Okay, cool.
Right?
So that we're all in on like this whole secret together. We're not going to know it all, but we can taste just a few hints. What do we got?
Yeah. So we have pink peppercorn, a little bit of granulated garlic, some dill, some ginger, paprika as well.
Okay.
And maybe 6 or 7 more ingredients in there that.
Just a few. Just a few.
Just a few.
A few to keep us on our toes.
But you see that, how that's cooking nice and beautiful right there?
And what's the trick to see exactly when shrimp is cooked? Because they're such a delicate protein that you overcook it, they're just going to become so tough, rubbery. And then if you undercook them, they're still going to be so soft and just not really have that beautiful bite. How do you know when they're really properly cooked?
So they go from that translucent color that they have, right? And they start to get this beautiful pink, orange, depending on where the shrimp is. When you get Gulf shrimp, you got those beautiful pink shrimp where they start to turn into the color that you have right here, right? So give it a little flip right there. And you can see that, right, as they go from one side to the other. And the beauty about the shrimp is that they're such a delicate seafood that they'll continue to cook with very minimal heat, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to continue to keep a massive amount of heat on them because we're still going to add our gravy to this. We're going to add a little bit of wine to this. And then for those of you that are watching the segment, that's not in the recipe, a little secret that we do in the restaurant is we add a little bit of tomatoes and a little bit of arugula to the dish as well.
I love that idea.
So,
what's the addition for the tomatoes for?
So the tomatoes helps cut through that through the butteriness, the spiciness, because you got the acidity. But one of the amazing things about tomatoes, it actually has natural umami. So it's that next sense, that next flavor impact, right? So just another level of flavor that we add on top of it.
Very nice.
So we're gonna throw a little bit of white wine right in here with our shrimp. Let that go right there. Give them a little stir. Let a little bit of that wine cook off, and you can smell that wine as it starts to cook off, right? So, and like I said, the shrimp are going to continue to cook. As you can see right here, they're still cooking, right? That you got that heat right over the top of them. They're at a beautiful spot right there. We're going to add our tomatoes right over the top. We're going to add a little bit of arugula, and we're not going to cook this down. We're going to add it, and we almost want it to be raw, right? We just want it to lightly cook, right? Give it a little salt, give it a little toss, right? And as that's right there, our shrimp are ready, the tomatoes are in there, the arugula is ready. We're gonna go back to our gravy that we have right over here, and we're gonna pour that right over the top because that's what we want to help finish cooking in. So then when we pour that over our grits, it's already ready to go. It marries in with the flavors. A little bit of that wine and that butter that was left in our shrimp and grits right here all come together. So
very nice. To get these shrimp and indeed grits for your dinner, Chef Boulahay's recipe is on our website, dinnerdeas.com. Scan the QR code to get it right now.
You see how that's all slowly coming together,
Absolutely.
The gravy.
Oh, I can't wait. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I've got a pretty good idea what my verdict might be. But hey, for the heck of it, let's taste test this anyways, all right? Coming right back on Dinner Diaz. Welcome back to Dinner Diaz. Today we've been cooking with Chef Dee'Nir Boulahay from Tampa restaurant The Dan inside hotel floor. He's shown us his very special recipe for shrimp and grits with a tasso ham gravy and Gouda in the grits. The Dan now has a speakeasy vibe, and you've brought us a little taste of something too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. You can't have a good entree without a good cocktail.
My man.
And we have Trey to show us an amazing cocktail that's going to pair awesome with this.
All right.
Hi, chefs. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Thanks for being like the man of the hour here.
Absolutely.
Coming through in the clutch. So what do we have here?
Absolutely. So we have our smoked ginger old fashioned, which pairs well with our shrimp and grit dish already here. speaks to those coastal influences that bring out that nuttiness in the shrimp and the nuttiness into the
Oh, very nice.
grits. There we go.
I'm an old-fashioned guy too, so this is right up my alley. And the addition of ginger, you said to it?
Absolutely. That ginger is going to help bring out all of those flavors in the shrimp and grits
Look at that.
and put you in the right mood.
Oh, too fun. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's already getting everything ready to go, but this here is where I need to go. So what should I be tasting in this first bite?
A little bit of everything. It should be well balanced. A little bit of that sweetness, the savoriness, that umami-ness, the creaminess.
Absolutely fantastic. The tasso ham gravy, so nice. And because of cooking the shrimp, that little bit of wine, it thinned it out and just brings it all together so nice that there's so much movement that it's coating all of my palate. Oh my God.
And it's one flavor right after another.
Uh-huh.
The same way we built it as we cook it, it's the same thing that it does on your palate.
Oh, absolutely love it. Thanks again to Chef Boulahay for the food and Trey Brothers for the beverage. A link to their restaurant, The Dan, is at our website, dinnerdeas.com, along with the recipe. Just scan the QR code to get there. And don't forget, let us know if you try any of our recipes. Send us a photo. I'm Jeff Bilbin. Thanks for watching. See you next time with more Dinner Diaz.